believe it? We got another one. So quick, man. We got another one from the critical drinker. Why modern movies suck. I love this series because he breaks it down, man. Every reason why these movies suck, and he does it so well. And it's like all stuff that I'm already thinking. You know what I'm saying? Because I think about this stuff all the time. I talk about this stuff to my friends all the time. We have these discussions, and it's so great hearing him say it and hearing him talking about it and being able to listen to his points because he puts it he's just good at articulating, man. The man speaks nothing but facts. He articulates it beautifully. What more can you ask for, my guy? I'm gonna get into this, bro. Let's go. You guys enjoyed my last one. My last one, the last one was the strong female character. This one, they're too expensive. This one is kind of interesting actually, because I actually haven't thought about this one too much. It's definitely, I could see how it could be a problem, but I'm interested to see what he's gonna say because I really want to know. Because I haven't been thinking about this too much. I mean, it's crossed my mind, but I haven't thought about it as much as I could, or as much as I should. Yeah, they're too expensive, huh? I don't know. I can't necessarily see how that. Well, I can see how it can make movies flop for sure if they're putting too much. You know what they do? You know what I noticed? And somebody said this in a video I watched the other day. I can't remember what or who, but somebody mentioned how like nobody makes the small movies. Like nobody makes small, low budget things anymore. Everything has to be explosions, CGI armies, like just crazy stuff. There's no like you don't see movies that could be on a $50,000 budget in like the big you don't see big Hollywood movies like that anymore, right? Like movies like Seven, movies like Training Day. I love Training Day, by the way. That's my favorite movie of all time outside of the superhero genre. If you want to talk superhero genre, it's Infinity War. So that could be part of what he's talking about in here, like how we need to wind it back, you know? I mean, yeah, like these movies are becoming like large investments, man, like compared to what they used to be, like, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. So, look, I'm not gonna hold it back anymore. Skip the intro, cut it short. Cut it short, man. We're cutting it today. Why modern movies suck, man. Let's do it. Let's do it. Too expensive. Got you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you don't miss any of my future videos. Let's go. See, that's why I don't like this man, okay? Because he spits nothing but facts. Like, you can't tell me this man don't be speaking the truth. I've seen like haters. I mean, I've seen haters. They'll say anything like, "Oh, he's just a hypocrite, bro." Tell me one thing this man said that's a lie, bro. They always try to dance around it, bro. Tell me something this man said that's a lie, man. Get in my comments. I dare you. I triple dog dare you, man. Get in my comments, bro. I want to talk to you. I want to know who you are. I want to I want to speak to you, man. I want to be there in your thoughts at night, bro. Tell me why this guy is not spitting fact. Like, tell me something that's not factual about what he's saying, bro. You can't. Like, you just can't, bro.
Now, you don't need me to tell you that modern Hollywood has got itself some problems. Whether it's ongoing
Yeah,
strike action, declining artistic creativity, an over reliance on remakes and tired genres that are past their peak, or a general aversion to doing anything particularly new or inventive. And to be fair, I've covered a lot of these problems in previous installments of this series, but one of the biggest
yeah,
overriding factors in all of this is a financial one. Put simply, movies are too damn expensive these these days. The production budgets for mainstream Hollywood films have been
Wow.
steadily rising since the 1990s, but the process is
Wow.
accelerating.
Whoa, 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 whoa. I need to see this full chart. What the heck? That junk said like, what the, you see how high it goes? The junk just starts going straight up at one point. What the hell is this, man? You can't be spending money like this, man.
Accelerated
Come
out of
on.
control over the past few years. In fact, out of the 100 most expensive movies ever released, 66 of them were made in the past 10 years. But Drinker, you
Wow.
intoxicated bastion of common sense in a world gone mad, I
Wow,
hear you
66
say,
of them,
why is
dude.
this a bad thing? If studios want to spend more money on their films, why not let them get on with it? Well, the thing is, this kind of approach to filmmaking creates problems. The kind of problems that cause a ripple effect through the entire industry, ultimately undermining the quality of the films that we get to watch.
Yeah, I want to see you break it down. See, this is usually I'm right here with them, but you're a step ahead of me this time, Crit. I'm gonna start calling you Crit, man. Start calling you Crit, cause the cause it's critical out here, man. It's critical out here, man. Look, I, you're a couple steps ahead of me this time. Usually I'm right there with you. I know where you're going with this. I want to see where you take this, cause you're gonna make a point that I don't see. I don't see it right now. Usually, most of this stuff, I'm already like, I either already have that opinion or already understand certain things, and the drinker just says it beautifully, and I'm like, oh man, yes, I love hearing people say what I'm thinking, you know. But this time, I haven't really thought about this too much, you know. I could like, but it does seem like the type of thing that it could have like a trickle effect. It doesn't sound like a bad thing in and of itself, but I could see and I could guess a few ways that that could be, you know, like I'm gonna see where he's going with it first, and then I'm gonna add my stuff on later.
The first and most obvious of these problems is an economic one. As I explained during my Indiana Jones video, once you factor in promotional costs and distributors' fees, the average movie needs to make about 3 times its production budget just to break even. That's hard enough
Whoa,
even for
wait, three? I heard two. I heard two to break even. To break even. I've never heard that three times. I don't know where he's getting that from. Is that true, man? Come on. Nah, ain't no way. Because if that's the case, then like almost none of these big budget movies would be making money, dude. They would be like all like either flopping or breaking even three times, bro. That would mean that like you're talking about like okay. I'm trying to think. I don't know about that. Three times. Maybe he said that as like in a like like that like some movies can get to that point. Like I'm sure there's been a couple movies that have been overspent to that point where they need to make three times. I could see that, but like wait, hold on. Let me see what he said again.
needs to make about 3 times its production budget
Wait.
just in As I explained during my Indiana Jones video, once you factor in promotional costs and distributors' fees, the average movie needs to make about 3 times its production budget just to break even.
He said the average movie. Well, he said distributor fees. I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about distributor fees. I only oh, okay. So that's something else that he's adding in there. I usually just factor in the promotion. When you factor in advertising, then it's like twice the budget. I don't know anything about distributor fees, but if you're talking about like the theaters, you know, the people who distribute the DVDs and stuff, you know, the Blu-rays, stuff like that, streaming services, I could see it getting to three times actually. Once you factor that stuff in, I've only ever factored in the advertising. So maybe that's what he's talking about. He knows more about the industry than I do. So he's probably factoring in things that I haven't. But I just heard all I know that I've heard is factoring in advertising. You have to basically make double to break even. once you factor in the advertising for the film. You have to make about double to break even on average. That's what I've heard. So this is new information and this is actually interesting. See, I'm learning stuff here, man. I'm gonna have to look. I'm gonna look into it and make sure this is correct. But I'm not saying he's wrong. I think he's just factoring in things. If you know in the comments, let me know in the comments. Like if you're really into this stuff, you know the math and everything. Let me know in the comments. What I'm thinking is it's because he's factoring in distributor fees and stuff like that that I don't think about. I've never thought about that stuff. And if it doesn't fall under advertising fees, then yeah, that could be a whole nother thing that makes the expenses shoot even further up. So yeah, new bit of information. Never had that before, man. Come
That's
on.
hard enough even for relatively small
That's
movies,
crit.
but it
That's crit
becomes
right here.
infinitely more
That's what crit
difficult for
does.
films at the top end of the scale. Because if your movie happens to be one of the growing number that costs more than 300 million to make, then you're looking at close to $1 billion just to
Exactly.
start
That's
turning a
what
profit. Even now,
exactly.
there's
That's what
not
I be
many films
thinking.
capable of reaching that milestone. Which brings
That's what I would be thinking. Like, if it's like that, if they get to the point where it's that, I'm sorry for continuously pausing. I know it gets on some of y'all's nerves. I'm sorry, man. I'm really trying not to, but I gotta say some things, man. Just real quick. Come on. Like, that's what I'm thinking. Like, because if it keeps getting up like that, if it keeps getting to this point, like we're getting to the point. If you're saying you got to make triple, and your movie, you get a movie, a big movie like big budget movie, like Fast and Furious, like something that costs like 250 to 300 million. I think one of the Sonic movies were like, no, that was like 150 million, I think. But if you start getting up there, you're gonna be getting to the point where you where you need to like hit like almost a billion, like some of the top grossing movies of all time to to make a substantial or even any profit with some of these movies. With some of these movies with insane budgets, you need to make crazy money just to make a couple million, 50, like some millions in profit, you know? That's the point that it's gonna get that it gets to with some of these movies, that it, you know. That's what me thinking. And it's like that's insane. Like, do you really think your movie's gonna make that much? You would think that they would just not take the risk and make something lower budget, or I don't know. That seems like the only option right there,
me
dude.
along to another problem, the cost of failure. See, the financial losses
Yeah.
incurred by the studio begin to rise exponentially as the budget goes up. A $50 million flop is embarrassing to be sure, but a $300 million flop
Oh
is
man,
absolutely
that's
disastrous.
gotta
And the
hurt, man.
inevitable result of massive
Gotta
amounts
hurt.
of money being at stake is that studios tend to seek out safety, predictability,
Oh
and proven track
yeah. See,
records, rather than taking a
that's
risk
where
on
he's
smaller,
going with it.
riskier
One of the things that I was thinking, but I didn't want to say it earlier because I wouldn't look stupid. But I was thinking about that, like, when he was during the intro of his video, where he's mentioning things, I was like, huh, that's another good reason why we don't get movies that take risk. Because with all that money on the line, you know, why would they want to take a risk? It's killing the risk making. If we got back to movies that are like under 100 million, probably see them taking more risk. Movies that you don't have to make $1 trillion to break even, like, because then it's like you can't. There's no room. There's no margin for error financially for them. They're like, if you don't make a safe movie for everybody that freaking ticks all the right boxes, you're gonna lose money or just only break even, or you have to play it safe. But at the same time, at this point, like, I think we're seeing so many of these just super safe movies flop lately, safe by current standards, that at a point, doesn't it become being safe is just not safe? At this point, like, you have to do something outside of the box to get above that margin. because that's the point that it feels like we're getting to with this. What I've seen from the box office numbers from a lot of these movies, and the sooner that they get it and the sooner they change it, the better it will be.
And more diverse projects, they tend to blow their load on whatever's popular right now. And up until recently, that meant either
Yeah,
big budget effects heavy superhero flicks, big budget effects heavy resurrections of old franchises, or
yeah,
big budget effects heavy remakes of classic films from previous decades.
yeah,
Spot the common factor here? There seems to be a real mentality in Hollywood now that bigger and louder somehow equals better, and the result is an endless competition to produce the most visually stunning pieces of cinema possible. But the problem is that the more you focus on the visuals of your film, the more you tend to neglect everything else
yeah.
around it. These days, there's an over reliance on spectacle and scale to draw audiences in, and it ends up becoming a crutch for bad writing and lack of creativity. I mean, you can't honestly tell me that you were
Yeah, bro. So you see how he ties it in, bro? And I never saw. I see. I told you at the beginning of this video he was gonna say something that I did not, that I didn't see, and I'm surprised. I'm kind of embarrassed. I pride myself on being like a deep thinker when it comes to these things, and I never thought about that. I never thought about the financial side, how it could be financially beneficial to play it super safe. I never thought about that. I always just thought about the directors being douchebags and their egos, which they are, and they have big egos, and the woke stuff. Like there's like a million things, but I never thought about this. So yes, that is the reason why we're seeing. I mean, I've thought about it, but I haven't thought about how big of a problem it is. I think I have thought about it, but not how big of a deal it is, because it is big. Think about it. This is why we're seeing Star Wars get milked the way it is, because it's safe. Actually, now I think about it like that, now that I think about it in the context of Star Wars, I have thought about this before. I have thought about this before, but I put more of the reasoning on greed. Yeah, I put it more in the sense of like greed and like just no creativity on their part and not understanding the franchise or whatever, versus that, oh, they kind of have to play things safe here because it- you know how expensive things are getting. I never thought about the economy of Hollywood could be a potential issue or barrier for them. I never thought about that. And it could be like a bigger thing that's kind of widespread in Hollywood, that's kind of like a problem that's trickled and branched out, that's kind of an issue for all of these producers, everybody. I never thought about it that way. I've thought about the premise of like obviously money being like the reasoning for some of this stuff, for all the remakes, trash remakes by the way, by all milking old, nostalgia and franchises and stuff. I've thought about that. I've thought about the playing it safe thing, but I've never put it together like this. I've never thought about the economy of Hollywood and how it, as opposed, sometimes it's greed, but also on some level, it's like, it's almost necessary and it's rewarded, whatever.
were gripped by Avatar 2's compelling and complex storyline. Jesus, if you can even remember a single thing that actually happened in that movie, I'll be impressed.
I
What you
didn't
end up
watch
with
it.
instead are a series of beautiful but ultimately empty and meaningless tech demos that keep you momentarily distracted but offer no long term impact or emotional payoff. They stimulate your eyes but not your brain, and the more it happens, the more audiences start to become jaded and disinterested in what Hollywood has to offer. Another big problem with so
I
much
mean, you're
money is
showing a lot of images of the MCU there, and I just want to say, okay, the MCU up to Infinity War, up to Endgame, I think Infinity War was much better than Endgame, but up to like Endgame, right? With the exception of like a few move like Captain Marvel, with the exception of like a couple other. I wasn't the biggest fan of Homecoming, but the MCU, with a few slight exceptions, was pretty good, and there was a lot of thought provoking stuff in there. The character arcs, when you look at the arc, like especially like a character like Tony Stark, you can find like very moving things in there. It's not just empty stories with like explosions and like evil people. I think there's more to it than that, but that is a large part of it. The excitement of all those things, of course. These are superhero movies, but it's more to it than that. I think, honestly, I really do. But obviously, it's hard. I feel bad for defending the MCU because even though I'm only defending prior to 2019, but still, it's just such a bad taste in my mouth these last couple years off of how trash the MCU is. I don't even want to talk about the MCU before then. That's what I'm saying. They tarnished their legacy. They should have just left it after Endgame, just ended it, and it would have been remembered as like this legendary, like pristine, like just mythical thing that happened years ago. It would be like almost like a legend of like Hollywood excellence if they just ended it 2019 Avengers Endgame, it's over. MCU done, reboot, whatever, I don't freaking know. Obviously they would never do that because of what the drinker's saying now, like money. They need it's safe to keep making movies and milking it, right? And they've tarnished it. Now it will just always be remembered as the thing that was kind of good before, and now it sucks. It will never be like, oh, this legendary thing that happened. No, you've tarnished it too much. Like now, it's just gonna be like a gray area where it's like, oh, there's some of the stuff was good, but some of it was pretty bad. That's how people are gonna talk about it 20 years from now. You know, it could have been much better.
Mistake is studio interference. I've lost track of the number of films that have been derailed and ruined because the studio started to get jittery about the filmmaker's creative vision and decided to stick their oar in with endless test screenings, last minute rewrites, and mandatory reshoots to produce something more
That's happened a lot.
commercially viable. Again, it's a nice idea in theory, but the problem is that studio executives aren't storytellers, they're money men, and the decisions they make tend to be driven by whatever they think will generate the most money. Narrative cohesion and creative integrity don't tend to factor into their thinking, because all that really matters is keeping the shareholders happy. Not only
Yeah,
do rewrites and reshoots undermine a filmmaker's creative vision, but they also push the film's production budget even higher, making it even more difficult to turn up profits. So what do you do when movies cost a shit ton of money to make and your confidence in new projects is at an all-time low? Well, you resurrect dusty old franchises with inbuilt fan bases and strong name recognition and hope that it'll somehow translate into financial success. Why do you think we've seen so many new Star Trek, Star Wars,
yeah,
Terminator, Indiana
yep,
Jones, and
yep.
Ghostbusters movies
Bro,
in recent
let him
years?
know,
Not to mention
drinker.
Disney's
Let him
endless
know. He's just
cannibalization of
telling
their
the
classic
truth, man.
animated
Come on.
films. It's because all of those things have been big hits at some point in the past, and so logically, if you can shit out a lazy cash grab
Yes,
remake or
bro. I
unnecessary
mean,
sequel, then it'll be equally successful, right?
Wrong.
that's the whole
The top 10 movies
mentality.
so far this year, 7 of them are either sequels or remakes of older films. And the thing is, it didn't always used to be this way. Go
Wait, what
back
did
in
he
time,
say?
remake. The top 10 movies so far this year, 7 of them are either sequels or remakes of older
Dang.
films.
Out of the
And the thing
top
is, it
10,
didn't always used to be this
7 of
way.
them.
Go back in time 20 years, and the biggest films of 2003 were Return of the King, Pirates of the Caribbean, Finding Nemo, and Bruce Almighty. Jump back 30 years, and Jurassic Park, The Fugitive, The Firm, Sleepless in Seattle, and Mrs. Doubtfire ruled the box office. I mean, I know which movies I find more worthy of my time. There's also a rather predictable tendency to follow the crowd at the top levels of Hollywood, leeching off winning formulas to replicate the successes of others rather than taking the risk of inventing your own. I know it's
That's
become
what
popular
Hollywood
to
does.
shit on the MCU nowadays, but in its prime, it absolutely changed the landscape of modern blockbuster movies to the point where almost
Yeah,
everyone adopted the exact same style and tone.
yeah. MCU. Imagine a guy that's so cool. You ever see a guy or like a a guy, like let's say you're in a room and somebody with like just the best personality ever just walks in, and like certain and people, and he starts talking to people, and people start like adopting certain thing, or like, no, let's that's a stupid analogy. Let's take it this way. Somebody really cool just starts wearing their clothes in a certain, like, a style or something, I don't know, and they're just so cool. They're just so damn cool, bro, that other people just start doing it, bro. Like, that's how cool it is. They're like, "Oh, yo, I gotta start dressing like this dude." That's the MCU. They just came in and changed the game, and people everywhere was like, "Oh, we gotta steal this shit, bro." Like, we gotta get on this immediately. Like, that's how crazy, like, good it was at the time. I don't care what you want to say. I'm not gonna. Some of the MCU haters are just crazy, bro. If you just if you hate the MCU prior to 2019, I just don't care about you. I can't find the energy to, like, here's the two arguments. They make jokes in their movies. That's one of them. And then the other argument was they have in credit scenes. I already was this dude. His whole thing was that he hated that the movies had in credit scenes. Like, what does that have to? What does that have to do with how good the movie was? You just did. I don't. Yeah, I don't understand people, man. If you're like a prior to 2019 MCU hater, I can't even. I can't even. You know what? Screw it. If you hate the MCU, I don't care when it was. I think you're kind of weird if you hated it before 2019, but it don't matter. Let's just come together. All that matters is that we both hate it now, today. That's all that matters. Come together, join me, man. I don't care. You're a little bit weird for hating it when it was really good, really, really, really good. But it don't matter. It's about today. Today it sucks, and it needs to be hated, and it needs haters. So you and me, we're here right now. We're here right now. We weren't before, but now we're here, man. Like, I had to have a change of heart, man. Like, mid video, I had to have a change of heart.
Serious, mature, and thought provoking storytelling was out, and snarky, ironic, self deprecating humour was in. How many movies over the past 10 years can you think of where characters stop every couple of minutes to make another lame attempt at a Joss Whedon joke? It's because everyone wanted their movie to be the next Avengers. The result of all these different factors is a kind of creative inertia, a feeling of bland, depressing sameness. You get the sense that
Yeah,
most big budget movies nowadays all rolled off the same assembly line, composed of the same basic ingredients with only minor alterations. And I guess what I'm
yeah,
trying to say is that we seem to have reached the maximum upward limit of how big and expensive movies can possibly be, beyond which it becomes impossible to even turn a profit. And maybe it might be time for studios to start backing down a little, stop risking everything on one mega project that has to appeal to as many people as possible, and start investing their money in a more diverse range of smaller, cheaper, creatively ambitious films with a lower bar for success. Projects where the filmmakers actually get the creative freedom they need to bring their visions to life without constant interference, where they can afford to take risks and try out new ideas without the fear that one single failure could bring down the entire studio. And to be honest, I think we could all benefit from a bit more variety in our summer movie season. Anyway, that's all I've got for today.
yeah.
Go away now.
I don't think I've watched anything this
No, you
summer, to
don't
be
need me
honest.
to.
I don't think I've watched anything. You go away, drinker. Don't you talk to me like that. You think just because I got respect for you, you think I'm gonna just let you talk to me crazy, son? No, I'm joking. That's Crit right there. That's my boy. That's my boy. That's my boy right there. But look, yo, I told you he was gonna say something very thought provoking, and that's actually a whole new can of worms that I have to think about when I trash movies now. I mean, I already thought about it, but I didn't think about it this way, like, or as I, you know, like, man, come on, man. Yo, he made a lot of good points. See, this is what I'm talking about. The critical drinker, he don't miss, bro. I mean, I don't agree with everything he always says, but usually on the why modern movies suck, he's always on point, man. And this was so well thought out and well executed. And I have a lot of stuff. I kind of want to research some of this stuff. And if you guys know anything, because I was like, especially like the thing about tripling the budget, like, please let me know in the comments. Let me know if that's true. Give me some details. Anybody who's really smart on this stuff, really into this movie stuff, because I really need to know. I want to know. Okay. But other than that, wait, hold on. Let me make the shot. I got like a basketball hoop right here, man. I gotta make the shot. I didn't make the shot. Okay, that was embarrassing. Good thing you can't see the hoop because that it's not very far away. Okay, that's unfortunate. You know what? I have some more stuff I was gonna say, but I can't think right now. I got a lot of videos I'm doing right now. So moving to the next one. Look, thank you guys so much for checking out this video. I appreciate every single one of you guys, even the haters out there, man. Because I'm a hater myself. Deep down at heart, deep down at heart, I hate all you niggas, man. So thank you so much. I love you guys. Don't pay attention to what I just said. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you want to stick with me. If you like my personality, if you like my videos, thank you so much. And watch the drinkers video. I will leave the link in the description. I appreciate all of you guys. And leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. I read every single one of my comments always. Even if I don't have time to respond to them all, I will definitely read it. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you. See you in the next video.